And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the message out there that the best way to get around this lifestyle is to heal the inner child. That is my
Yeah.
message. Is heal that inner child, nourish that inner child, and look what my inner child healing has done for me.
In a world that often pulls us apart, More in Common brings us back to what matters. Hosted by Garen Taylor and Keith Richardson, this isn't your average podcast. It's a challenge to think deeper, question louder, and grow further. At More in Common, we work with NFL teams, tech companies, and professionals across industries to improve communication and foster compassion. And with a focus on emotional intelligence, we aim to bring a wealth of experience to help you navigate the complexities of human connection. We've never been more connected and yet more isolated. We want to explore the roots of that tension and offer a way back to what we all need: real human connection. Enjoy the show.
We are back. Welcome back to the More in Common podcast. I'm Garen Taylor, alongside Keith Richardson, as always. And for week 3, because we are just so enthralled with the incredible story and energy that Jesse is bringing us, Jesse Rodriguez is here with us again. In case you haven't caught in the first 2 episodes, Jesse's an artist. I want to say activist in some ways too, for good, for healing, for truth, and saving people from trauma. We've been talking a lot about your history in these past couple of episodes, and I know Keith has some intriguing thoughts that he's been mulling about there.
Yeah, and so Jesse, thank you for all the time you've spent with us and sharing your story. I know you share it all the time, so it's a privilege to allow the space for you to share it with our audience as well. As you look to today, we've talked a lot about the past. You mentioned last time how you've helped 25 people. One of the things that's really easy for a lot of folks to see or to question or to ask is like, how repeatable is this? Right? Like, your story is outstanding. And there's a lot of psychology that goes into it. But one of the components that has been so critical to you is the support. You've had mentors, you've had others, and you are looking to be that support for others. But you also had the desire to change. You had the patience. You worked through this incredibly tedious journey of emotional, like, this is hard. It just is just hard. What do you see as the possibility and potential for others? It's there. And I think it's important. I think what the work that you're doing is amazing and wonderful. And I want to instill hope in other people in their possibility for getting through this. Because even you said it, like, there are days even today where it's like, man, it's hard, right? So I'll pause there because no one tuned into episode 3 of your conversation to listen to me talk. So,
Okay.
what do you think?
One of the things I tell people is it is hard. It's a very lonely walk because not a lot of people are doing it, right? But society catching up to trends, right? So I'm hoping that this becomes a trend where men can talk about their emotional side. Because this is one thing that I don't subscribe to. I don't subscribe to the emotional box. If anybody that knows me that's on TikTok, right, they know that somebody comes on there and they share their trauma, my trauma gets triggered, right? And so I empathize, and sometimes, a lot of times, I cry because for me, crying has been very healing. I always tell people, you say, "Oh, it's weak for crying." No, it takes courage to allow that pain to come through tears, right? And it's very healing. A lot of people don't understand that there's healing components to crying, letting it go, like, right? And so I share my story in the hopes that others can see, hey, that dude had a similar experience to me. Because I tell people, I'm not special. I am not unique. I always tell people that do not put me in this unique box because I am not. There is a lot of little yet Jessies, Keith, or G's out there growing up in a household the way I did, or even worse. But here's the thing I tell people is, and this is my mission in life. My mission in life, I talk about, it's about sharing my story of change and sharing my art. But my purpose in life is to be that one person for somebody that I needed so much and didn't have. So if I can be that one person for somebody that I so much needed and didn't have, then I get to sleep at night, say, you know what? You were there for somebody that needed you. And I do that constantly, on TikTok or, sometimes I'm in the middle of crafting an art piece, right? And somebody comes on there and they share something. And I tell them, you want me to end the live transmission and we can connect and talk. And I've done that multiple times and people have poured, their trauma. And I sit there and I listen to them and tell them, look, this is what worked for me. Try it. It might work because everybody that needs healing, sometimes you just need to be heard. You don't need the answer. I tell people, we have all the answers because we know our story. Nobody knows my story better than me. I lived it 24/7. So therefore, I need to pick it apart and put it back together in a healthy way. So my message to people is do the work.
Mhm.
It's a lonely walk. It's a very hurtful walk. But at the end of the day, the reward, I always tell people, for me was that I get to be my authentic self. There's no more freedom than being your authentic self in front of everybody. I'm not gonna put on a mask for G, put on a mask for you, put on a mask for my wife. Everybody gets the same Jesse. And there's people that are not gonna like this Jesse, but I'm okay with it. I am a-okay with it. So I always tell people, do the work. I promise you, like when you lay your head at night, you're not gonna be stressing about, oh, I wonder if so and so likes me. I wonder if so and so is talking about me. I always tell people, what you say about me or think about me, it's none of my business. If you want me to live rent free in your head, by all means.
Right.
But the message is, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your inner child. Nobody was there for your inner child, but you can be there today for your inner child. I mean, and my wife, we're there for each other's inner child. Sometimes we act like little children. We allow that inner child to come out. And my wife has provided that. When we first started the first episode, I talked about the 5 A's, right? These are 5 needs that we have as humans. The need for attention, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and allowing. The gang lifestyle provided 4 of them. They gave me the attention, they accepted me, allowed me to be part of them. They appreciated when I did things to benefit them. They show me some form of affection. But one thing the gang will never do is provide that allowance,
That is
allowing you to be your authentic self because your authentic self has a lot of broken pieces. You're attracted to each other because you all have that void, right? The gang does not allow you to be your authentic self. Why do you think we get monikers? I used to go by Speedy, right? Because I run fast, right? But nobody said Jesse. Jesse, it was not acceptable because Jesse was somebody that wanted, attention and love in a healthy way, right?
right.
And my wife has been the only human being other than myself, because you can provide these 5 A's in a healthy way for yourself. But my wife has been the only person in my life that has given me those 5 A's in a healthy way. And which is for me the most important one is when somebody can provide that safe space for you to be your authentic self. It's hard to put into words the feeling that you get because there's not just a mindset, it's not just the feeling, but it's a sensation that you get where you don't have to put on a mask. Like she has created a safe space for my inner child to come out. Day 6, when I met her, I don't think it was day 6, but between day 3 and day 6, right? I met her. She asked me, you know, a question about, being in solitary confinement. Solitary confinement, I experienced such trauma that when I talk about it, I get emotional because my brain does not know that I'm just talking about it. My brain registers it's happening again or it's happened. And I broke down. I broke down and I started telling her, this is how it was and I still suffer from it. And not 1 minute did I feel like she was looking at me less than because I was emotional, I was crying? Because this was the first time that my inner child came out and said, "Hey, look, this is how I feel. This is me. Like, are you ready to see an emotional man, right? Like I have emotional intelligence and I have no problem displaying that. Are you going to be okay with it?" And to have her create that safe space and hug me
Mm.
it's this feeling that you can't describe it. So I always tell people, get on that journey. I promise you that it's not going to be easy. And there's no, I arrived, I'm healed, I'm done. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. but the reward, it is beyond describable. Like, I can't describe the feeling that I get to be my authentic self with everybody in my life. Like, I don't have to be like, "Oh, man, what did I tell G the other day? Oh, I don't want him talking to Keith because no, you get authenticity." And in my opinion, I think that's the highest form of love, where you can provide your authentic self to people. Like, you love yourself so much that you're not afraid to be your authentic self with people.
Hmm.
I tell people, take on this journey. I promise you, I can repeat myself for years. It is worth it. It is worth it to get rid of that mask. Self-love, it is it's a drug for me. Like, I love myself today. I didn't. I used to judge myself a lot. Today I don't. Hey, I'm human. I'm not always gonna be 100%, and it's okay. It is okay to not be 100%. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have a bad moment. But always remember to get back on the track. You are going to have those days where, you're not gonna wanna do nothing. You're not gonna wanna be of service. You're not gonna wanna listen to people's trauma. It's okay. Self-care is important, but above all is create that safe space for your inner child to start that journey. Because as adults, now we are online. Our executive brain's online now. We can guide that inner child. I guide my inner child through a lot of things today, right?
Hmm.
Always thank my inner child. Thank you so much that you did everything possible to get me to who I am today. I always tell people I wouldn't change nothing that has happened in my life because I don't think that I would be who I am today. As painful as it was, I would do it all over again to be who I am, my authentic self.
That's such an incredible journey. And, I think it's something important, especially too, like you were saying, for men nowadays, right? To be able to talk about emotional intelligence, to be able to connect with these parts of themselves that we've been so often taught to repress and pretend don't exist or just keep trucking. It's important to take the time to reflect. And like you said, do the work, even though it's challenging, even though it can be scary.
Yeah, one of the things that it really triggers me when people say, "Man up." And I tell people, "Well, what
Mm,
does that mean?" It means deny that you're angry, deny that you're hurt, right? No, like, there's nothing different between us and women. We are just conditioned by that word, "man up." And I tell people, "Well, I am a man, bro, and I have emotion, and you're just not used to seeing a man that's emotionally intelligent, emotionally confident. Well, you have to be able to put that mask down." Like, look, there's times where I sit there and I cry, and I don't care what people say
yeah.
because I am allowing my inner child to say, "Hey, I don't want to carry this no more."
But truly, so tell me more about what's happening today, Jesse. Where can people find your stuff? How do people connect with you? Learn more about what's going on with you, and how can they
For
be part?
anybody interested in coming on to what we do and be part of what we do, I am on TikTok, Jesse Rodriguez 599. I'm on live every day between either 8 or 9 in the morning. I get on till about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, right? Sometimes I still go out to the shops out there. I work with a lot of indigenous shops throughout, Tijuana, Baja California. And what we do is we partner up with them. So what we've been doing lately, we've been doing burrito giveaways. We take food to the homeless out there, right? And so for every item that you buy from the indigenous shops, 2 burritos. Oh, let's say you buy a necklace, right? You buy that necklace, the artisan, the shop have agreed to partner up with us that every item you buy, they put money away for 2 burritos per person. And so we've been doing that for the past, I think, 3, 4 times now, and so we're getting ready to do it again. So anybody that wants to support anytime, and I have a lot of the stuff. I bring a lot of the inventory home. I work with different, like, various shops and artists, and anytime you buy anything, is not only are you getting an amazing handmade piece, right? It's not duplicated easily, right? And you're giving back to your community, you get a nice piece, and you're putting food in somebody's stomach, right?
Yeah,
Somebody's sibling. That could be, I always tell people, a lot of people are a paycheck away from being, on the streets, right? Being hungry. And by buying a piece from these artists, you supporting the artist, the shop, the community, and you're feeding somebody's relative. And so that's what we're doing now. We were doing is we're taking funds, and my wife and I would choose a family in need out here in the community. and we would take them out shopping. And some people can go check out our videos on our page, right? At Jesse Rodriguez 599. You can see the videos of the giveaways that we've done, right? Recently we did I was asked to come speak at a junior high,
Oh,
and
awesome.
speak there and share my story in Tecato. And
Mhm.
one of the things I told him is I want to teach kids how to play chess. The reason I teach people chess is because life is a chess game, right? You have to think 3 moves ahead before you move one piece. And I like to play touch and move. So if you touch a piece, you're gonna move that piece. There's no like, oh, never mind. Because in life, when you make an action, right, there's gonna be a reaction. So you have to be mindful that if I make this decision, what's gonna be the impact, right? Because I don't like consequential thinking. I like to say, well, if you do this, what are the consequences? I stay away from consequential thinking. Consequential thinking only creates smarter criminals. I
Mhm.
want impact. What is the impact of my actions? And so I went and presented my story to the kids in school, and we did a fundraiser. We donated 100 chess piece boards because they only had like 10 boards. So we donated 100 for the school and then 100 for the kids to take home, so that they can sit there and play. And so we did first place, second place, and third place winner. First place got $500 shopping spree, and so we took the kid live, did the shopping. A bunch of people donated more money while we were shopping.
That's amazing.
Second and third place got a backpack full of school supplies. And so I'm supposed to be going to speak to the high school now. We're just waiting because I have a lot of things going on. So I was like, let me knock out everything I got going on and then we can sit down and do that. So I'm
Yeah.
about trying to share my story so that some kid can see themselves. And I speak very raw to schools, right? I tell them exactly how it is. I tell them, look, if you choose to live this lifestyle, there's two things, right? If you're lucky, if you're lucky in this lifestyle, you get to go to prison and live out your rest of your life in prison. If you're lucky, and if you're not, you can get killed. Those are the two
Yeah.
options. You're not gonna get a diploma. You're not gonna get a certificate. You're not gonna get this big ceremony. You're not gonna get none of that. These people that call themselves your friends are not true friends. A true friend is going to help you set goals and push you to meet those goals, right? They want you to grow, right? They don't want you to hurt. And so I give them a very raw view into what this lifestyle brings you, And I tell them at the end of the day, I have nothing to show for it, right? Everything that I did in that lifestyle, I left a trail of victims.
Mhm.
I got a body full of scars and tattoos. There's no pride in that, There's no there, and unfortunately, a lot of people glorify that. They glorify the paint job. They glorify the lifestyle, but in reality, a person that is honest is gonna tell you there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, and there's a lot of pain and suffering that you're gonna cause other people, you know? And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the message out there that the best way to get around this lifestyle is to heal the inner child. That is my
Yeah.
message. Is heal that inner child, nourish that inner child, and look what my inner child healing has done for me. It's
Right.
created a platform. Look, here I am talking to you guys, right? It's created. My inner child did all the work so that I can be here and stand with you guys and share our story.
And that's where it is. But thank you, Jesse, for all the time you've spent with us. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. I'm sure we'll do this again in the future. Let's talk offline about doing that chess tournament. I even have some ideas around that.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
we'll have a place to
And,
do
no, and
that.
and thank you guys for creating this space, right? Because again, my objective in life is to be that one person for somebody else that so much needs it that I didn't have, right? And I do that through my story to let people know, like, hey, look, I did it. You don't have to go through everything that I went through to get to where I'm at. I can show you shortcuts. I'm always pushing these books on my life. Read this book, read this book, read this book, read this book. You know, they're all here. I have them all here, you know?
That's right. And that's where the journey starts for you. And that's where we're going to leave it on this time. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. This is the More in Common podcast. I'm Garen Taylor. That's Keith Richardson. Jesse, a pleasure. Hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.